We are in the garage. It is nighttime, and this lighting, you're gonna just have to look past it because this is it's late at night and I'm guns a-blazing. Oh God, Jesus. Alright guys, so I'm here to tell you about ride sharing whenever it comes to safety. Like I've said before, if you haven't seen one of my recent videos or previous ones, I have been ride sharing full time for a year between Uber and Lyft, and I can't tell you like how many times, like especially being a female, how many times I've had other female passengers get in my car and immediately sigh with relief saying, "Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're a woman. I'm so glad you're a female." I wish that these apps had a way of just only requesting female drivers. And that's only because they feel safer with other females. Now, being a guy who is a passenger, I don't know what your deal is. Or if like you're even struggling with that sense of feeling insecure or feeling paranoid, but I can see where like anybody would be a little anxious about even riding with somebody for the first time. And I only bring that up because as a driver, whenever you're first starting to drive, you're gonna be a little anxious as well. At least that's what I experienced. I was nervous to start driving because I didn't want someone to snatch me up. I got goals in my life I want to meet. I don't want anything to put myself in jeopardy. So I'm going to give you guys some tips and some guidelines on what I did to remain safe and feel peace of mind whenever I was, riding with people in my car. And people I didn't know, of course. So I would say the first major tip Hold on, wait a minute. I would say the first major tip, you probably shouldn't be the low-hanging fruit. By that I mean, I had this discussion with one of my passengers actually fairly recently, and he just put it in a really great way by phrasing it like, don't be the low-hanging fruit. And which is like, be precautious. If you're beginning to drive, this is what I did. I kept nothing in my car. I had nothing in my car. And I'm a female. I carry a purse with me. So my purse, I didn't keep really much in my purse. I only kept my essentials. And the essentials I would keep would be very controlled. So if somebody were to be like, give me all your money, I'd be like, oh, you can take what I fucking have. And thank goodness I never was in that situation, and I hope none of you guys do, but just to be on the safe side and give yourself peace of mind, men, if you're driving, I would say keep nothing in your wallet. Have a wallet specifically for whenever you start ride sharing. And I understand that not everybody's going to be ride sharing full time like I was. Even if you're doing it as a side hustle, like say you just got off of work and you don't want to go all the way back home to drop off one thing such as your wallet to trade it out for your ride sharing wallet, which is like something a lot more controlled. And guys, I am sincerely giving you a huge learning curve, or like I'm giving you I'm helping you beat the punch. Like most of the time whenever you start ride sharing, it's just kind of like Uber and Lyft promote their apps more as like a just do it type of thing. There's nothing that really makes you feel like most of the hesitance is probably safety, and there's nothing out there that really makes you feel safe unless you do your own research, which is why you're probably watching my video. But it would be really great if like whenever I started driving, I would have loved to have had some sort of, I don't know, safety 101 class, or tutorial on the website before I even signed up that gave me some sort of, you know, tool to understand, like, okay, 1 second. Oh, oh, oh God. Hello? Yeah, I'm just in here recording. I'm good. Sorry, y'all. Just had to holler at my roommate real quick. Whew. Ugh. Okay, so yes, I wish there was a bigger resource as to what would make me feel safer whenever I was, you know, loaning my car to others for them to get from point A to point B. That was like a really big hesitance to why I didn't immediately start driving for Uber. You know, I had the car, I had the insurance, but I was more so scared about my safety. It's a very alternative way to learn or to make your own money, be your own boss, you know. So with that being said, don't be the low-hanging fruit. Only keep your essentials on you. I understand if you can't just like drive an hour back home to drop off a wallet or a purse to grab a different, you know, purse or wallet. I'm just saying travel light. Also, I had pepper spray in my car. I kept pepper spray on me. Never had to use it, thank God. Never had to use it. But at least I had it. Now the only thing, and I highly recommend taking self-defense classes just to understand reaction times, and hopefully getting some more perspective on having your exits whenever it comes to being in a situation that is jeopardizing your safety. I can't guarantee that what I have to tell you either is going to be the best advice, but for people who, you know, are just wanting to ride share for fun, hopefully you're already experienced enough as an adult to know that it only takes one. It only takes one, sadly, to kind of mess up everything. One crazy person. And, you know, you shouldn't be too hypersensitive to ride sharing because you're scared somebody's going to get you or harm you or make you feel uncomfortable, because you should feel confident in being able to handle the situation. The biggest key from what I've learned from the self-defense classes I have taken and the people that I have talked to, between, you know, bouncers, security guards, and police officers, the biggest key to being able to defend yourself is just knowing you can do it. So you need to go somewhere controlled, like a self-defense class or a karate class, or somewhere in your community, or with an instructor who maybe teaches these types of skills that allows you to get yourself in that mindset, you know, of being alert, not being afraid to be confrontational, not being afraid to say no, and then knowing when to comply. Because sometimes that'll get you out of a sticky situation as well. So to keep going back to just not being the low-hanging fruit, another thing you can do, I never did it, but another thing you can do is, you know, get you a little security camera. This is your business. Whenever you ride share, it's just like walking in Walmart. They don't need your permission to have your image in their store or on their camera. It is literally for their security purposes. And I can tell you, I had an incident with a passenger I had picked up for, or was going to pick up for Uber. I'll get into that because it's, ugh. It was kind of course, was silly, but the person was mad before I even got there. And either way, I ended up telling them they can't get my car or they needed to get a different driver, which is another really good phrase that you can use, or is a really good phrase you can use whenever you don't feel comfortable with having somebody even step foot in your car, or you don't feel comfortable just taking them where they wanted to be, even though they just put their seatbelt on. There's nothing wrong with telling them you need to get a different driver. They're gonna talk smack. Let them talk smack. Don't feed into the crazy. Obviously, you don't feel comfortable with them in your car for a reason. Let them talk smack. Wait till they close your door and drive off. Don't instigate anything. The better off you can just drive off from situations like that, the least likely you're going to have your account deactivated. The least likely you're going to have this person damage your car for no reason. The least likely you're going to be putting yourself in a position where you are really unsafe, other than them just talking smacks. Talking smack. Yeah, get that camera going, because with that incident that I had with Uber, the representative, whenever I reported it, asked me if I had video footage, and I didn't. But I can tell you that passenger took a picture of my license plate. They took a picture of my license plate, you know? And he didn't need to do that because we're already connected. We had already been connected on, the app. But, they took their picture. Why can't I? Why can't you? And those little cameras aren't that expensive, y'all. So, if I remember to put it in the description, I'll link some cameras that maybe you can look into. I would just get a little GoPro. I used to use GoPros for my band interviews. They're actually pretty good, and there's ways you can get, the Wi-Fi connected to your phone so that you never lose the footage. And there's just no excuse to not have something that holds somebody accountable for their actions. And you as a driver, make sure you need to really pay attention to yourself to not trigger any type of action that would make your passenger feel like they needed to act out. Like if you pick up this person and at first they seem okay, and then all of a sudden things just take a left turn, best thing you can do, probably be to just comply. And this is like in regards to maybe a situation where you're about to get robbed, and y'all, don't let this discourage you from ride sharing at all. Like I said, I've had 2,000 rides between both apps. I'm okay. I don't have anything that traumatized me. I'm all right. If anything, I learned that I can handle myself. I can't get pushed over. For the most part, can't do that. But I mean, if you're in that situation, you need to be able to think. And there's fight or flight. And when you take your self-defense class, which you should, and you don't have to before you start driving, you can probably do it during or after, whenever you can afford it. Because you're going to find, whenever you first start driving, more than likely, all of your passengers are pretty chill. They're pretty chill. They just want to get to where they want to go. And before I started driving, the person who suggested that I drive, he was a bus driver in a pretty major college town. And he was like, I get the crazy people. More than likely, someone who can afford an Uber or a Lyft isn't going to be that crazy, because they understand the meaning of a dollar. They're really just trying to get on with their business and go. And all these horror stories that you'll hear on the news, like with Uber, Lyft, stories going wrong, that can go in any industry. That can go with any industry. If anything, those stories should make you feel more urgent to understanding how to defend yourself in situations like that. You're in your car. So, to go into this even further, I will tell you, the only instance I had, unfortunately, or, you know, fortunately, everything happens for a reason, is I just had a kid. I picked up a kid. He looked like he was 17 or 18. Picked him up in maybe not a so good area, and I'd been driving in the city, so I've been 8 months into my career of ride sharing, and so I figured, you know, I understand that I'm in an area that's not so well, but most of the time, if I picked up somebody from that type of area, they were like on their grind trying to get somewhere better than where they were. So they didn't act out. They really weren't that weird per se. Now, with my experience as a bartender in the city, I know whenever somebody ain't really there to party, they ain't really there to get a drink. They're looking for something. They're wanting to take something, you know, and typically I would peg that on if they didn't talk to me that much, or if they just seemed, I got that gut feeling, and that's really big with self-defense. If you got that gut feeling, follow your gut, be able to listen to your intuition, trust yourself. Well, this kid that I picked up, he wasn't that talkative, and he had a bag with him. Now, I don't know what was in the bag. I wasn't thinking much about it. All I know is that his demeanor instantly kind of didn't rub me right. And I get along with a lot of people. So, long story, to fast forward this story, I felt like he was going to rob me. There was a stop on the way. I was dropping him off Prospect. Now, I don't know about too many other cities, but I kind of assume that if you drop anybody off of a Prospect street, it is a little Prospect. like it's probably not in the best area. So like the stop along the way was his friend handing him another bag. And his friend didn't look too friendly either. And he looked me dead in the eyes. Did not look friendly. I got it. Y'all, whenever I say, like, I'm usually pretty calm, I got so anxious. So anxious. My gut was just telling me something was off. Something was off. And I looked at my GPS and I was like, look, I got 6 more minutes on this trip. This is what I did. This is what I did with this robbery. Potential robbery, never robbery, whatever. With that gut feeling, with all my anxiousness, what I did was try to talk to him. Try to talk to him, and I just kind of acted dumb. I acted like, you know, everything was fine. I was just trying to get to know him. I was like, hi, like, well, I didn't say hi, of course, because I already had him in my car, but it was more of like, so what do you do? Are you, do you got work today? It's a nice day out. I'm very glad, you know, like, do you like the weather too? I'm trying to have small talk with them. And he gave me a couple sentences, and then he kind of shut down. And I was like, oh, fuck, this guy's gonna try and get me. I ain't got time to get got, you know? So, Uber and Lyft, they both have features for emergency assistance. I have no idea as a driver for the whole year I've been driving. I have no idea how those fucking features work. It's probably very simple as to quick button to 911. But in my situation, I had a kid sitting behind me with something with a bag that I don't know what's in the bag. If I were to tip him off at all and he had a gun, a knife, a fucking shoestring in his bag, and I tipped him off by just pressing the button and calling 911. And I'm in the middle of some neighborhood I don't even know, and I just dropped him off. I just made a pit stop in a neighborhood that's not in a good area. Like, there's bars on the windows on some of the doors, or some of the houses. What did I just do? I just gave him all the reaction time he needs. So this is what I did. Because I had made the small talk I did, and I noticed that he was getting quiet, and I was just getting more shaky and shaky. I had a really good friend that I was figuring out, like, okay, maybe I'm going to call somebody that I know will pick up. And I could call my mom, but, you know, me and my mom, our conversations aren't really like that. They're very short and sweet, and I'll see you in a second. Now, instead, I called my best friend, one of them, and our dynamic is tight. I only say that because I highly recommend that you get that one person whenever you start ride sharing. Because yes, Uber and Lyft have this feature where you can share your ride, and that's good and all, but get that one friend that knows you a little bit better. Get that one friend that does know what you're doing. Okay? So I called this friend. She is a supervisor at a gym working 9 to 5. I called her in the middle of the day, not on break. She answers her personal phone because she looked at her phone and said, and she told me this after the whole incident went down. She looked at her phone and was like, that's odd. Michelle never calls me at this time. Something's got to be wrong. Something's got to be up. This must be an emergency. Get that friend. Find that friend. Let them know I'm going to start ride sharing. This is when I'm going to start ride sharing. And then I'll let you know what me and my friend ended up deciding after this all went down. But I called her and I made up some bullshit story. I was like, hey, sorry I'm calling at this time. I know you're at work. And I was texting her while I was driving. I know some of y'all might disagree with that, but in the circumstances being, I didn't know what that kid had in his bag, and I didn't like that he was in my car, and my gut was on fire. I was gonna save me. So called her, and I was texting her while I was on the phone with her. I'm talking to her about how I just had some really exciting news about potentially being able to move to Atlanta for a music deal, and I was going to need to figure out where to live at, and I knew she had an aunt that lived there. Maybe can she get me connected with her aunt? That was literally what the conversation was. And mind you, I only had this kid in my car for maybe 6 more minutes, but that was the longest 6 minutes of my life. I don't know what he was going to do if I didn't call my friend to get somebody on my Bluetooth speaker, which is another thing with Lyft and Uber. If you call for emergency assistance, and I tip them off, like you tip off whoever's in your car with the button, and it goes immediately. Like you don't want to just let them know I'm calling 911. You can, I'm sure you can, but to me, in my situation, I didn't feel like that was gonna be the best move. So that Bluetooth 911 call would have just went all up in my car, and he would have been like, what? What if I was really just tripping and he wasn't even trying to rob me, but then because I did that, he was going to. Like, there's so many possibilities whenever it comes to somebody who just don't think right. So I'm telling my friend all this stuff on the phone, and then I'm texting her. I said, you might have to call 911. Do not hang up. Do not. And she's texting me like, okay, I hear you. I'm right here. Send me your location. And before I was going to try and figure out how to send her a location, which my texting app doesn't have like a straight up send location. I know some iPhones do. I'm sure some Android text apps do. But what we decided after the whole incident went down is that we would get on Facebook and I would send my location that way. So with that being said, I actually got to the kid's last stop, and what I did was I kept my friend on the phone, and I just, once we got there, I said, okay, I know we're here. Turn off my car, grab my purse and my phone ever so slightly, stepped out of my car, and I said, I need to check my tire. And I just stood outside my car and I stared at him. I playing it off, but I stared at him until he stopped looking in his bag. Like he took an extra long time. To get out of my car. I don't know what he was looking for. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was adjusting, but all I did was grab my stuff. It was in the middle of the day when this happened. And I was waiting until he got out of my car. And which, it was probably 15 seconds, 10-15 seconds, but it was 10-15 seconds too long for me. And I got back in my car, and I thanked my friend so much for answering the phone when she did, and she explained, like, hey, I just knew something was up. You know, I knew that you never called at this time, and typically it's a text if you have anything to say to me during this time. And then that's whatever we decided, you know, like in the future, like I'll send her my location. I'll definitely still call her, and we'll just be on that same wavelength forever and always. It's just miraculous that I had a friend that knew when to answer and that she was available to answer. So y'all need to get that friend where you can always call and feel like you have somebody that can at least pinpoint where you are and what you're doing, be able to report it to somebody. You know, and remember that you maybe complying with someone who isn't right, you know, is probably the best. Travel light, get that security camera. You just need to really be alert. Don't ever get too comfortable in your car. You know, like more than likely you're gonna have a really great time with your passengers. I'm not trying to scare you guys at all, but I know this is a huge deal. Safety is a really big factor for why people probably don't start ride sharing. It's a great opportunity to really start, you know, your own business and really learn how to discipline yourself as a leader, and, you know, really get to know your area and the people that live in it. But, you know, I'm pretty primal whenever it comes to life. So because of that incident, I now never drive in the city. Now I don't. But that took up to about 3/4 of the year that I've been driving to be like that. And I can tell you, I earn the same way. I earn the same way. And after that trip, I looked at the $3, or I'm sorry, the $5 that I had gotten and said that was not worth it. That was not worth it. So you just need to, be able to listen to your gut. You need to know that you're capable of defending yourself, and you need to have your exit plan. All right? If you have that established, then you can start ride sharing. You shouldn't be that anxious. And if you're wanting to start ride sharing tomorrow, that's all easy stuff to establish. I'm sure there's more resources than just me where you can learn how to think more in a defensive stance. You know, you'll probably be able to ask, you know, Uber and Lyft more questions as into how does that emergency feature really work? How would that work for me? What do you guys recommend I do if I get in this situation? Any of those thoughts that you have, really contact those apps and see what they have to say about it. That's probably a really good way of easing your mind whenever, if your biggest inhibitants to ride sharing is safety. Be aware, be alert, be safe. And always remember to have fun. It's really not bad. It's not that scary. It's really, if I can go through that and I'm okay, I want to promote ride sharing. And I know y'all don't know me like that, but like I wouldn't promote ride sharing. I felt like it was going to put others in jeopardy. I did 2,000 rides. And that was a one time. And I got out of it okay. So, yeah, just take it easy. I hope this helps you. And send this video to somebody else who may have the same type of inhibitants or same type of fear. They really want to try ride sharing or even delivering food. You know, like, leave comments down below. I'll answer as many questions as I can as to what I would do if I were in this situation, or if you are in a ride share, share like what you did to get out of a situation if you were in one. You know, like, I think it's really good to talk about this kind of stuff because unfortunately I don't feel Lyft and Uber particularly don't provide you with how to be safe. They just say, here's a feature, we have something that, you know, we should have had whenever we first started. Here's the 911 button. Like, no, you guys have to go above and beyond for yourself. This is your business. Make sure you're okay. So yeah, let's talk about it. Use my promo code if you do decide to start ride sharing. I still highly recommend it. And yeah, that's it.